Well, I'm sure you could see those icicles out there. We're in the middle right now of a major snowstorm. We're getting a blizzard actually coming very soon. And of course, here in the central part of the United States, we are often sort of either ignorant of, or we just simply don't understand how much we are interconnected with the oceans that are out there. Iowa, in fact, because of its intensive agriculture, contributes, unfortunately, quite a lot of the chemicals that flow down the Mississippi and produce the dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico. So this year there has been a real soul searching about the expansion of ethanol and other fuel-based renewable fuel crops for producing alcohol and biodiesel and so on, because it is taking its toll on the oceans. What I wanted to talk to you about very briefly, however, is the new section that we're beginning now in the International Coastal Policy class. And I have in front of me here the kind of outline of the next sort of wave, which is the Defying Ocean's End part of our exploration of how coastal policy and coastal management impacts the quality of life of the oceans, the quality of life of human beings as well. And I wanted to just remind you that what you need to look at as you start going through Defying Ocean's End is the two levels of it. One level is the kind of thematic level. This project involved working groups. One of them was the Ocean Use Planning and Marine Protected Areas group. As you know, the other one was a working group on economic incentives and disincentives, which can make a difference in how people around the world treat their coastal areas, their mangroves, their marshes, as well as the actual oceans. And so economic incentives are an incredibly important part of trying to make all of this work positively. At the beginning of this international course, we looked at the destruction that has occurred in the world's ocean over the last several hundred years. Now we're going to try to talk a little bit about what we can still do and what we must do in order to reverse some of this. So ocean use and planning, marine protected areas, economic incentives and disincentives. And then there is, of course, this land-ocean interface. We keep forgetting the oceans are not sitting out there on their own. They are deeply and integrally connected to land, to the land masses. And as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, places like Iowa, which are very far from the ocean, have a massive impact on the ocean. There is an entire area of the Gulf of Mexico, as you know, called the dead zone, which literally is the victim of very successful and intensive agriculture thousands of kilometers away. The other working group is maintaining and restoring functional marine ecosystems. And that, of course, is the kind of exciting work that's being done to try and reverse some of the negative impact and trying to essentially fix what has been broken. Another section I think is very interesting that you'll be reading about, we'll be talking about, is the area of communications. Communications is, I think, education, but it is the part that says we need to make people aware what the consequences are of what we are doing to the oceans, and maybe we even need to go back and say to people, look what we're doing to our beaches, look what we're doing to our near ocean areas, to the places where marine life has its nurseries. We're really bulldozing, filling them up, poisoning them, dumping solid waste and as well as human waste into them. Communication is what the media, educators, and others ought to be doing. And then, of course, there is the ocean governance part, which is very crucial because a lot of this is going to have to be done through intergovernmental agreements and international arrangements in which we all cooperate on trying to mitigate these problems. And that includes governments bringing in private nonprofit organizations and so on to try and do this. The other part of this whole Defying Ocean's End is this part called case studies. And as you know, we have case studies on the Caribbean, on seamounts, on Antarctic waters, Coral Triangle, and the Gulf of California. Those case studies, I think, are what put essentially a face on all of this. This is not just some, anonymous, huge, invisible oceanic problem. This is something that actually occurs in specific venues and in specific ecosystems. So I'm looking forward to working with you and you working with each other. And I hope some of the stuff that is in our next major unit, Defying Ocean's End, is going to fit in very well with your research project. And I also hope that you're making progress with your research project. I'm going to be asking you for updates on that very soon. So back to our icicles, if you want to see those. It's very beautiful out there. It's also a day when we've been told, no traveling today, too dangerous. 40-mile-an-hour winds and whiteout blizzard conditions. Thank you.